County Assessment Appeals Board, April 23rd, 2018. I'd like to invite the clerk to conduct roll call, please.
Member Selzer?
Here.
Vice Chair Kramer?
Here.
Chair Shepard?
Here. And did the clerk establish proper notice?
Proper notice has been established.
All right, thank you. And could you confirm the agenda amendments, please?
Yes, there is one amendment to the agenda after publication. We have moved item 5A, application number 17-030, has been moved to item 3B, approval of stipulations in place of appearance and testimony.
All right, thank you. And so we're going to announce the order of proceedings. So the first item on our agenda is number 2, approval of withdrawn applications. Would the clerk like to read into the record the requested withdrawals?
Application number 17-037, Reyes, Adelfo, and Laparisma, APN number 099-092-1201. Application number 17-040, name Ukiah Green, APN 003-13070. Application number 17-041, name Ukiah Green South, 003-13071. Application number 17-038, name Federal Express, APN number 003-280-0100. Application number 17-042, South Dora Health Holdings, LLC, APN number 003-471-2100. Application number 16-066. Name is SFP-BLLP, APN number 180-080-6900. Application number 16-004. Name Wade Catherine A, APN 118-340-1300. Application number 16-057. Name Wade Catherine A, APN 118-340-1300. Application number 16-005. Names Wade Catherine A, APN number 118-340-1300. Application number 16-002. Name Wade Catherine A, APN number 118-340-1300. Application number 16-003. Name Wade Catherine A, APN number 118-340-1300. Application number 17-028. Name Wade Catherine A, APN number 118-340-1300.
Thank you. Are there any updates subsequent to the agenda publication?
No.
All right, thank you. I'd like to, at this time, to invite board members to discuss the withdrawn items.
Why are they all, for Wade, why are they all the same AP number?
If I may, Madam Chair, it's for one parcel. It was a date of death. They appealed the supplemental assessment and the 4 years worth of escapes that we placed on the roll for the date of death, along with the 16 regular roll and the 17 regular roll.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes. So we have stipulated to the supplemental, which will automatically correct The
And that's
escapes,
that next item on the agenda.
the
yeah, I
escapes,
saw that.
and the 2 regular rolls.
You need a motion?
I was just gonna say, I'd like a motion to accept the withdrawals.
I move we approve the withdrawn applications.
Second.
All right, so Mr. Kramer made the motion and Mr. Seltzer seconded.
Motion carries.
If the clerk would be so kind as to read the requested stipulations.
Application number 16-016. Applicant name is Wade Catherine A. APN number 118-340-1300. Application number 17-030. Name Wesley Anthony T. and Jane L. APN 118-330-0600. This is the application for stipulation that was moved after publication.
No,
It's the one that was added.
Oh, that was the one that was.
Yeah, so it's 5A.
added. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
you need a motion.
I thought there were more.
No,
Did we
No, it's
read?
just the one. There are those 2.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Any updates to the agenda subsequent to publication?
No.
All right, and any discussion by board members?
Did you need an approval on the, on 4?
Well, I was going to go to the, would someone like to make a motion to approve the stipulations?
Dick, your turn.
Sure. That's approval of item 3, not 4, though.
Yes, I'm sorry, approval of item 3.
Oh, sorry.
So moved.
I second.
All right, so Mr. Seltzer made the motion and Mr. Kramer seconded.
Motion carries.
So agenda item 4, would the clerk like to read into the record the requested continuances?
Application number 16-054. Name
Sorry, before we go on, it's not working. Did you state who made the motion and second?
Yes, we did.
I know the clerk should repeat that, so. I don't know if she did. Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
Agenda item number 3 was, the motion was made by members Seltzer and seconded by Vice Chair Kramer.
All right.
Item number 4,
Passed unanimously.
and passed unanimously. So back to item number 4. Application number 16-054, name Pottleswaite Robert, APN 145-125-1000. Application number 17-029, name Eel River Fuels Incorporated, APN 169-120-2000. Application number 16-061, name Cookson Guard B and Whitney J, APN 049-380-3800.
All right, any discussion by the board?
Nope.
All right, someone
I'll
like to make a
move we-
motion?
I'll move we approve the item 4, approval of requested continuances and postponements.
Second.
Thank you. So,
Motion carries.
and that was a motion by Mr. Kramer, seconded by Mr. Seltzer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So on to item 5. I believe we need to swear in the parties.
Will all parties and witnesses who are here to testify please come forward and raise your right hand?
So is that us?
Yes, I believe so.
So do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes.
I know. That's just too bad. It's not working.
So at this time, would the appellant like to step forward and present your evidence? Could you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Jeff Warner, and I'm the treasurer for the Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I believe that the assessor is required to go first.
Oh, I
I'd like to
I
apologize.
thought it was my appeal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hold on just one moment. Let's find out if we're doing this in the proper order.
So, can you hear me?
Yes?
So the, in this situation, it's my understanding that this is escape assessment, is that correct?
That's correct.
And if so, then the burden of proof actually shifts to the assessor, and the assessor would go first in this
All right.
case.
Oh, I apologize. You'll be right back in just a couple of minutes, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society owns property located at 17300 North Franklin Road in Fort Bragg, California. Oh, pardon me, Madam Chair. The assessor will exercise their right to request findings of fact.
Okay.
Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society owns property located at 17300 North Franklin Road in Fort Bragg, California. Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society acquired the property on June 26, 1986. A preliminary change in ownership report was filed at the time the deed was recorded. The information provided on the report stated that the purchase price was $0. However, a statement of no tax due was filed with the preliminary change in ownership report, which stated that the value of the land at the time of purchase was $36,500. This statement was signed by James L. Larson, attorney at law. This information was presented to the recorder's office when the deed was recorded. $39.60 in transfer tax, along with a $7 recording fee, was collected at the time of the recording. Transfer tax is charged at a rate of $1.10 per thousand for any consideration paid or value of interest conveyed. The value of interest conveyed at the time the deed was recorded for the land was $36,000. I have attached a copy of the recorded document as Exhibit A and the preliminary change in ownership report, along with a statement of no tax due as Exhibit B. Once the information was received by the assessor, a value of $36,000 was placed on the land, and the improvements located on the property were valued at $24,000. The cost approach was used to value the improvements. The improvements consisted of a 2,772 square foot hall, 80 square foot pump house, 640 square foot storage building, garage, and a well. This gives us a value of $36,000 for the land and $24,000 for the improvements, for a total of $60,000. A base year value was set, and a supplemental notice was issued on April 19, 1987. A supplemental tax bill was issued, and both installments were paid on July 21, 1987. Please see applicants' exhibits 3 and 4. You can find those exhibits in the applicant's packet. No protest was filed to appeal the base year value placed on the roll. In May of 2016, Jeff Warner came into the assessor's office to inquire about receiving the welfare exemption on the Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society's Franklin Road property. The process of qualifying for the welfare exemption was explained to him. It was also discovered at this time that the base year established at the time of purchase in 1986 was never entered into the computer, causing the value that was in place prior to the 1986 change in ownership to be carried forward. This resulted in an underassessment of value for 30 years. By law, once the error is discovered, the assessor has the obligation to correct the error in assessment and issue escaped assessments. If the error is the assessor's and no fault of the taxpayer, the number of years that can be corrected per section 4831 is limited to 4. Please see Exhibit C. I have attached a copy of the actual code section. The assessor processed corrections for the 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015 tax years, along with entering the correct base year for future years into our computer system. The remaining 26 years could not be corrected. The corrections were processed on May 31st, 2016. Please see Taxpayers Exhibits 8, 9, 10, and 11 for the copies of the notices that we mailed to them.
Now, you referenced a statement by Attorney Jim Larson,
Yes.
and I see a copy of Statement of No Tax Due
Correct.
dated 6/17/86.
Yes.
And underlined in the first full paragraph is, this is a no consideration transfer
That's
from
right.
one nonprofit to another.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it makes it sound like it was a gift. There was no sale.
But as you can see in that written statement, it says value of the land is estimated to be $36,500, of which they paid transfer tax on when the deed was recorded. So this statement acknowledges that the land was at least worth $36,000 because they did pay $39. If you look at the front of the deed that I've attached as Exhibit A, you can see $39.60, and it says computed on the full value of interest or property conveyed,
Yes, I see that.
and then a $7 recording fee.
Is there an exemption from reassessment in the event of a gift?
No, it's, just because it's a gift doesn't
That's
mean
what I
it's not a
thought,
change
okay.
in ownership.
Okay.
And there's no exemption if it's a nonprofit transferring to a nonprofit?
No, there is not.
Is the nonprofit exempt from taxes?
Only if they qualify for what we call the welfare exemption. It's an exemption that is offered by the state of California. You go through the process of receiving a certificate from them. They check your nonprofit paperwork, your 501c, and I believe they are a C4. They ask for articles of incorporation. They ask for bylaws, thank you. And then they make the determination of whether they can qualify for the welfare exemption or not.
Who
And
makes
then
that determination?
the state of California. It's called an OCC. Once that is determined, then they provide the OCC to us, the state of California does, and the applicant can come in and qualify for a welfare exemption as long as the paperwork is filed on an annual basis.
Right.
Has that happened?
Not to my knowledge.
When you say the land was worth 36,000, you mean the land and the building, the improvements combined, right?
No, the land.
It was
They've
just
identified-
land at that time?
No, the improvements were there,
They only
but the
stated it was
statement
land.
identified the land.
Oh, I
Did
see
not
what you're saying.
identify the improvements as being included in that $36,500 estimate, so we used the cost approach to value the buildings. And in 1986, based on the cost approach, we came up with a value of $24,000 for the improvements.
and that calculation was actually done in 1987. and
No,
just
it was done based on it was done. That's a good question. The appraiser did it in March of 1987 based on a transfer that had occurred in June 26, 1986. So they would have used the 1986 factors.
But the calculation was done at about the time of the transfer.
Right, it was
Not-
done 30
not-
years ago.
Yeah, not just recently.
No, we have not changed the base year since we established it.
And it was a clerical error that it wasn't put on the roll back in 1987 at that price.
That's correct.
Now, there's a contradiction, I think, here between the grant deed and the statement by the attorney. Because they're saying the value of the entire property was $36,500, and the attorney uses the term land instead of property, perhaps. But anyhow, that's for us to decide, I guess.
Actually, I don't believe you have. This should have been protested in 1987 if they had a problem with the base year. We notified them with a supplemental notice, which Mr. Warner has provided in his packet. They paid the supplemental bill. The base year is not up for appeal. The statute of limitation.
What was the base year?
The base year was established in 1986, 24,000 for the improvements and 36,000 for the land.
So it
They
was
had
assessed
60
at 60.
Right. They had
Okay.
60
That
days
that
from
wasn't
the,
clear to me. Okay, I
okay.
see what you're
They had 60 days from the date
Yes.
of the notice when it was mailed to appeal the supplemental assessment, and that was 32 years ago.
Okay.
And they've been paying their taxes?
Based on the erroneous assessment,
Which was established sometime prior to 86.
yes.
Okay.
What was the prior to 86 assessed value?
At the time the supplemental was processed, the total value was 18,584, and we increased it to 60.
So the tax years that you can adjust to, what was it, 2011
Through 15.
through 15? No, 2012, 13, 14, and 15.
Yes,
That will be calculated based on,
the original base
What-
year plus the Prop 13 trend.
okay, which is going to calculate to what?
If you go starting with Exhibit 8, that's for the 2012 year.
Exhibit 8.
The assessed value is $57,075 for the land, $38,050 for the improvements. In 2013, $58,217 for the land, $38,811 for the improvements. In 2014, $58,481 for the land, and $38,987 for the improvements. And for the, that was for 15, right? 14, and for 15, it's $59,649 for the land, and $39,766 for the improvements.
766?
39,766.
So what have they been paying to date? That was based on the old assessment?
$18,000
A
assessment.
little over 18.
Okay.
Actually, in 2012, they paid $29,477, and that's both the land and the improvements.
Okay.
Do you need a breakdown of those?
No,
They paid on that. They didn't pay that. They paid on that.
right,
They paid on that, yes.
okay. So what is the total amount outstanding that they currently owe to bring it
I
current?
don't know.
Oh, you don't know, okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Do we have a copy of the notice of value?
That's in the property owner's,
It's in the property owner's packet.
and he has to give it to
Oh,
us.
I'm sorry, you did say that, yeah, okay. Okay.
I believe we're ready to hear the property owner. Yes,
Good morning.
good morning.
Morning.
You
Again,
have.
my name is Jeff Warner.
Yes, may I just say one thing?
Sure.
You have 20 minutes to present your case.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. My name is Jeff Warner. I'm the treasurer for Mendocino Gem and Mineral Society. And we drew straws at the last board meeting to see who was going to be standing here. And I lost, so here I am. What I'd like to do is, I think you have copies of our appeal. If not, I have extra copies I can.
I believe we do. We have, we do need copies.
Yeah, we need copies. I
You
don't
need
have one.
copies, okay, good. This isn't going to go into my 20 minutes, is it?
Thank you.
Copy for the
No, I don't. So what I'd like to do is read into the minutes here the two reasons why we're filing this appeal.
All right.
And then what I'd like to do after that is go over some of the stuff that.
Excuse me?
Pardon me?
I just want, the assessor doesn't have a copy of what was just handed out, and it may be things that have already been provided, but we don't know what it is.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's fair.
Anything else you need?
Just want to make sure we have copies of everything.
Righto.
Do you need a copy?
Can he proceed with his while she's making the copies?
Like it's gonna be fairly quick. Right here. Yeah.
I'll bet they have a lightning fast copy machine.
Little man inside's been drinking his coffee.
Sounds good.
Brought your own water.
I was worried.
Oh,
Sometimes they don't give it.
He brought his own soda.
I suppose, yeah. Okay, there you go. You're welcome. I'm not in that district. I'm in the 4th. How about you? Are you not in that district? Okay, sounds good.
Which is in the wrong district.
Thank you. Mr. Warner,
Yeah.
the assessor has her copy, so you may proceed.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is I would like to read into the record the 2 reasons why we're filing this appeal. And then I'd like to go over some of the attachments that we made, some of the ones that I think are really germane to our appeal, and discuss it with you.
That's fine.
2 reasons for filing this appeal. The first reason is in 1986-87 supplemental assessment on parcel 19460-06 was based on a reappraisal that never occurred, and as a consequence is invalid. The parcel was donated to the Gem and Mineral Society on June of 1986 by Simpson Lumber Improvement Club, or Simpson Lane Improvement Club, I'm sorry. Both are all volunteer nonprofit organizations. Originally, the Improvement Club was given the parcel as a donation from the owners of Simpson Lumber Company sometime in the 1950s. At the time, the title was transferred to the Gem and Mineral Society in 1986. The full value of the property was listed as $19,224 on the Improvement Club's property tax statement for fiscal year 86-87. Rather than accept this as the full value of the now donated parcel to Gem and Mineral Society, the assessor's office at that time attempted to more than triple the full value of the parcel to $60,000. It issued a supplemental assessment on April 1987, but it was never implemented. It is the Gem and Minerals' contention that there is no legitimate basis for the assessor's office to issue this supplemental assessment in the first place. The assessor has not provided any clear evidence that a valid reappraisal of the property was even conducted. This issue was raised in a phone conversation with the county assessor. She indicated that the reappraisal was based on a signed letter from Jim Larson, a Fort Bragg attorney who assisted in the transfer of the title from the Improvement Club to the Gem and Mineral Society. In the letter titled Statement of No Tax Due, Mr. Larson states that since it was a quote-unquote no consideration transfer between 2 named nonprofit organizations, no tax was due. A handwritten note has been added to the letter. Quote unquote, value of land is estimated at $36,500. Mr. Larson did not add this to his letter. Even if the $36,500 estimate is taken at face value, there still is $23,500 discrepancy to that figure and the 1987 supplemental assessment figure of $60,000. When questioned about this, the county assessor indicated the handwritten note added to the Larson letter stated only that the land was valued at $36,500 and did not take into account improvements on the property. When asked how the estimate on the improvements was arrived at, she declined to state. Conclusions to reason one: in 1986-87, the county assessor's office was derelict in that it made no attempt to objectively and professionally reappraise parcel 19-460-06 once the deed was granted to Gem and Mineral Society by the Improvement Club. In point of fact, no attempt was made to even create the semblance of a reappraisal. Instead, the assessor's office in 1986-87 cherry-picked anecdotal hearsay and used numbers that were of its own creation, but no basis in fact. Based on the information presented here, Gem and Mineral Society is requesting that the Mendocino County Assessment Appeals Board invalidate Mendocino County Assessor's 1987 Notice of Supplemental Assessment on parcel 19-460-06. The second reason for filing this appeal, the 1986-87 supplemental assessment on parcel 19-460-06 never was implemented. It has not been enforced for the past 30 years, and as a consequence is invalid. After the assessor's office issued the supplemental assessment in question on June 19th, 1987, it sent a prorated tax bill to Gem and Mineral Society in July of 1987, which was paid by the Gem and Mineral Society that month. Then in November of 1987, Gem and Mineral Society received its first annual tax bill for fiscal year 87-88. The full value stated on the bill was $18,955, with a total tax due of $221.82. Gem and Mineral Society paid it on November 9th, 1987. For the next 30 years, the county assessor, like clockwork, would send Gem and Mineral Society its annual property tax bill. These annual bills were all based on the full value of $18,955 stated in its fiscal year 87-88 tax bill, compounded 2% annually by fiscal year 2015-16 on the Gem and Mineral Society's tax bill. The full value had increased to $30,806. As a cost-saving measure, Gem and Mineral Society made the decision at its May 2016 board meeting to apply for a property tax exemption as a nonprofit organization. In contacting the assessor's office in Ukiah, its staff provided the necessary forms and information on the process to follow in submitting an exemption application. Within a week of that meeting, the assessor's office sent Gem and Mineral Society 3 escape assessment notices. Included with the notice was a secure roll correction form. The form gives the reason for 30 years of incorrect tax rolls. It was a quote-unquote key punch error, June 28th, 1986, as if no further elaboration was necessary. The form also indicates the assessor more than tripled the full value of the parcel from $30,806 to $99,415. Currently, it's now valued at over about $103,000. Conclusion to reason two: it is very difficult to fathom that a county department such as the assessor's office, charged with maintaining very accurate and up-to-date tax rolls, could have lost track of the billing of a parcel for 30 years. There is no doubt that from time to time, there are glitches in every system that need correcting. Surely the assessor's office has auditing protocols and management systems in place to identify and correct these irregularities as they occur. But an irregularity that lasted 30 years, tough to believe that a quote-unquote key punch error could have lasted that long in a department that one would assume prides itself on accuracy and attention to detail. The only conclusion one is left with is that the supplemental assessment in 1987 was unfounded and never put on the tax rolls to begin with. Based on the information presented here, Gem and Mineral Society is requesting that the Mendocino County Assessment Appeals Board invalidate the assessor's 1987 notice of supplemental assessment on parcel 19-460-06. So those are the two reasons why we're appealing. And what I'd like to do is focus on a number of the attachments. The first one is attachment 1, and it's the deed. And the deed is highly restricted. And what I'd like to do is read that restriction to you. This deed is made and accepted on the express condition that the land hereby conveyed to be used by the grantee, and we were the grantee at the time, and should the grantee corporation be dissolved or its activities on the land be discontinued, then the land and improvement shall revert to the grantor, and the grantee shall forfeit all rights thereto. If the grantor corporation does then not exist, the property or its proceeds shall be distributed to qualified nonprofit tax-exempt organizations serving Fort Bragg, California area. That's what it says, and that is highly restricted. I mean, that really puts the bar real low as far as the value of this property. And the other thing, typically, real property is used a lot of times to get financing, to make some improvements on the land or what have you. No bank would touch this. Not with this kind of a restriction on the deed. Just wouldn't happen. One of the other things I'd like to point to is the attachment number 4, which is the statement of no tax due that Jim Larson sent to the assessor. And there's a contradiction here. What he says is there is no tax due on the accompanying document for this reason. This is a no consideration transfer from one nonprofit organization to another of land and improvements used for meeting purposes. That's what he says. There is something added to that statement that contradicts what he just said in his memo. And that statement is, handwritten, value of land is estimated at $36,500. Jim Larson didn't write that. I don't know who did, but Jim Larson didn't write that. And this one statement right here is what was called a reappraisal of the property.
Excuse me?
That's ludicrous on the face of it. This is it.
You're
right
saying
here.
the statement of no tax due is your...
No, I'm talking about the handwritten value of the land is estimated at $36,500.
Okay.
That is, in essence, the reappraisal of the property, right there. That one little sentence, handwritten. Nobody knows who wrote it.
Jim Larson is not available, is he?
I have to say this has been very, very frustrating for us. We're a small organization. And just to give you an idea of the size, it's an all-volunteer operation. We have about 50 members, maybe. Last year, our gross income was $5,000. And the single largest expense that we had was $1,800. And guess what that was? Our property tax bill.
Right. Do you have more
Everything
items?
in here indicates that the property is essentially valueless until it gets out of the realm of nonprofits. How that'll happen, I have no idea. But right now, the property it's a 1 acre parcel. It's zoned RR5. There's RR2 zoning around those RR5 areas.
I want to let
but
you have 3 minutes left, Mr. Warner.
It's never been used for housing. It's always been in the hands of a nonprofit or Simpson Lumber Company. So that's what I'm asking you. You know, it's just absolutely ludicrous that we're charged with that kind of tax on something that we can't get loans against it. We can't do anything. We have to, in essence, it's use it or lose it. If we walked off the land, we would forfeit it.
Right.
And any help you guys can give us, greatly appreciate it.
So,
Do you have any questions?
yes, does the board have a question?
Yeah, Jim Larson, has he since passed away? Is he not available to testify as to whether he wrote that on there?
I talked to him, and he didn't write it. I don't know who wrote it.
Well, he signed the document, so
He
Well,
didn't,
we don't know
he
when
didn't
the-
sign
Probably-
it. No,
well-
he signed that statement at the bottom. You can see his signature at the bottom.
right.
He didn't sign the original.
I
of
will
that-
grant
of
you
that-
that he
of
didn't
that one
initial
ha-
the
of that one
added
handwritten
text.
note. He didn't sign that.
Okay. All right.
You indicated that you'd applied for the nonprofit.
We started it, and were rudely interrupted with escape assessments, and this whole issue get blown up.
Why did that stop your process of applying?
Because we're an all-volunteer operation, and we have other lives to lead, and this took a boatload of my time.
Well, it would seem that it would be time well spent to
I hope so.
reactivate the welfare exemption.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But if we can't get around this issue, we probably won't be available to take advantage of that.
All right. So when the property was transferred, is there anything in your records about an appraisal or some sort of valuation that was made as of the date that it transferred from the Simpson Land
No,
Improvement
this is
Club?
it. That little note, that's it.
The little note. Okay, very good. Is there anyone who was around at that time who might know if the reference in here to value of land, maybe as what Mr. Kramer supposed, that perhaps they meant property?
I'm not sure I know what
Well,
you're saying.
The assessor's contention is that the land value was $36,500, and so to that she added a value of $24,000
Where that came from, I have
for the
no idea.
structure.
I have no idea. They
Well,
never
no,
sent an
I
appraiser out
understand
to the
that.
property.
The point of my question is there anyone in your club who may recall if the word land was used incorrectly in this handwritten notation, that it should have actually been property?
This was 30 years ago.
Okay, well, I just wondered.
Good.
You've got somebody back there.
I see that. I think we need to finish with Mr. Warner before we, and I had the same question Mr. Seltzer did. What happened to the welfare exemption?
We plan on doing it if we can get around this issue.
Okay,
I think that's your way around this issue. I don't think you want to do this first. I think you want to do that.
right. I totally would have pursued that. And you made some mention of the fact that this had gone on so long without being caught, but until the property is transferred or something happens to change the title, there wouldn't have been anything that would have triggered a reanalysis by the assessor's office.
So in other words, the assessor, they don't have any system to catch these errors?
A sale. When the property
The
sells,
sale's the only time they look?
That's when they would
Wow.
review it.
Man,
yes.
that's amazing.
Well, it's codified, and I'm not an attorney, but it's codified that they can only recoup on an error back 4 years.
4 years, yes, sir.
And
But
that's what they did.
It wasn't our error. It's their error.
That's correct.
That's why they're not going back 30 years.
Oh, they're doing us a favor?
Well, no,
Doesn't
but
feel
the law
like
says.
doesn't feel like a favor.
You mentioned that you got a prorated tax bill in 1987. I think that, and probably the assessor would like to correct that, that wasn't a prorated tax bill.
Oh, maybe
If
I'm
you look
using-
at exhibit,
maybe I'm using the wrong number.
That was the supplemental assessment that she referred to.
if you look at exhibit 5, it clearly identifies the bill as Mendocino County supplemental.
Oh yeah, that's interesting that you bring up 5. It also shows that the land value suddenly, it's not 36.5 now, it's 36. So we're on my attachment number 5. The land now is 36,000 instead of 36.5. So maybe now the numbers are getting jiggered, and it's very bothersome, and it's extremely frustrating. I have to also say that we had an opportunity to do a voluntary appeal. Before the big one, which is this one, there's this voluntary appeal process, and you fill out a form, send it off to the assessor, and supposedly we get to sit down and talk about it prior to us actually doing this. So we did that. We filled out the form, sent it off in a timely manner, never heard from the assessor. And then, so we went ahead and filled out all the stuff necessary to do this appeal, and I got a notice from Nicole French, Deputy Clerk of the Board, said that there was some problems with our original application. And I said, okay, well, come on over, we'll check it out. So I made the corrections so that it worked for her. But before she kind of put it away, she walked across the hall, got the assessor, brought her in, had her look at it, and she passed on it. But before she left, I buttonholed her and I said, we want to do this voluntary appeal, but we haven't heard from you guys. And we're still interested in doing that. And she indicated that she would set it up and contact us, and we'd be able to do it. Never heard from her. And the thing was, we weren't denied, but we were, it's almost like dismissed. No one took us seriously on this in the assessor's office. We never heard boo from them after they sent those escape assessments. Not one peep.
And so that's when you moved to the more formal
Absolutely.
appeal. Okay. All right, thank you. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I could probably stand up here and talk about this forever.
Does the board have any further questions?
It's happened over the 30-year period. What the hell?
How large is the parcel?
It's 1 acre.
1 acre?
1 acre, zoned R5.
R5.
Never been in, it's never had any kind of residential construction on it. It went right from Simpson Lumber Company to the Improvement Club, and it was donated as a restriction from Simpson Lumber to the Improvement Club, and then when they went out of business, they passed it on to us with the same restrictions.
All right.
So
And its physical address?
is 17,400 Franklin Road, something like that.
Okay.
Is that right?
And
17,300.
17,300 Franklin Road. It's all the way, you go almost all the way to the end of Simpson Lane. You'll bump into Franklin Road, turn left, you go down the road. It takes a turn to the right, hard turn to the right, and the big old building that looks like it's about ready to fall down That's a clubhouse.
All right, anything further?
No, unless you guys have some more questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them.
Anything more from the board? Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right. And the assessor, did you have any rebuttal comments?
I just wanted to note that although this was accepted as an appeal of escaped assessments, most of what was presented appears to be an appeal of the assessment done in 1987, which cannot be appealed at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Why
The
can't
assessor
it
is
be
speaking.
appealed?
Excuse
It
me.
was-
But you need to wait just one moment, please. Okay.
I can reiterate that per Section 80 of the Revenue and Taxation Code, the taxpayer has 60 days to appeal the supplemental from the date of the notice, which would have expired in 1987.
Okay.
Then, as another alternative, they have 3 years to appeal the new base year value, and the correction would be prospective. That expired in 1989.
Okay. All right. Excuse me, hang on just one second. I have a question for the assessor.
Certainly.
In your valuation, did you take into consideration, or you're correcting the record, was there any consideration given for this deed restriction that's contained in the grant deed?
The deed restriction would have been reviewed at the time the supplemental assessment was done.
And
We
that
have
would-
no ability to change the supplemental assessment,
So that would have
so-
been the 87
Right.
tax year? Okay.
so
Okay,
we have
so
no
y-
ability to change the supplemental base year either.
So you believe the assessment, and let's see, the assessment in 87 was, is that the 36.5?
36,000 for the land, 24,000 for the improvements.
Okay. And you believe that that includes contemplation of this deed restriction?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
But you were not involved in that process,
I did
correct?
not
Yeah.
do the appraisal.
Yeah.
All right.
And we couldn't have
Thank
been
you. Excuse me,
notified
one-
of something that
excuse me,
we
sir.
didn't know about.
Yes, hang on just one second. Anything else, Madam Assessor?
They were notified with a supplemental notice of the revised base year. They paid the supplemental bill. Under the law, we've provided statutory notice for that supplemental assessment.
Okay.
When you say we,
right.
you're talking about 30 years ago. Yeah.
All right, and your final comment, Mr. Warner?
Yes, all these time limitations, we were ignorant of them because we didn't know that we had a problem. We didn't know we had a problem until a year and a half ago.
Right.
You know,
Well-
so the 30-year thing and all these time limitations are immaterial to this. It's just another bunch of blue smoke and mirrors.
Right.
It doesn't get down to the nitty-gritty of what actually happened. We paid everything that we were told to pay.
Right.
We haven't been duplicitous in any regard here.
I understand.
And I really resent the idea that somehow we're getting away with murder, because we didn't.
I don't think anyone believes that. And I thank you for all your comments.
There is definite implication that somehow we're getting away with something.
All right, well, we will take this all into consideration. We appreciate your information.
And my passion.
Yes, and your passion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for putting up with it.
All right. So I believe, let's see, do we have more before we move to closed session to consider?
Is there any comments from the public? Are you?
Are we at that point?
Go ahead.
Excuse me? Okay.
Hi, good morning. Robert Fennell from Westport. Right, know my name. How much time do I have?
Can you
Fennell,
spell your
Robert
last?
Fennell, from Westport. Finnell.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm here sort of in a reverse process. I think I did apply to for the position of the Assessment Appeals Board as an alternate, and I haven't been notified formally by anybody, but I did review the Board of Supervisors minutes or video a couple of weeks ago, and apparently my application was withdrawn. It was a consent calendar item. I know County Council is familiar with it. So my point being reverse process is I probably should have came to the Assessment Appeals Board and public comment and introduced myself first before I applied. So I am an attorney. I did bring an action against the county years ago. It went up to the appellate court. The county won. That water under the bridge. It was essentially a purchase price paid dispute, whether that was the fair market value. I'm not going to get into the details of the case, but you can find it on the California court system. Congratulations to the assessor in retirement, and I'm sure well deserved. And I would just like to say that I'm going to follow up with the Board of Supervisors. I know it's under your jurisdiction to apply again and go through the Brown Act process. So there's clarity there. I haven't received any notification, so I'm just wondering why. Because I believe the Assessment Appeals Board actually, in its application at one time, was seeking people with a legal background or CPA. I'm a California attorney in good standing since 1984, 33 years. And I just want to say as public comment, I'm really happy and pleased to see Madam Assessor's comment on the January 29th meeting, which is videoed, and I'll just read the quote. It's at minute 47 to 48. The code requires us to use the purchase price unless we can determine that the sale is not an arm's length transaction. That was the nut of my case. I lost at the appellate court. But good to hear that, because that was actually my motivation to apply. Because I said, I understand the assessor's office now understands it, how it should have been handled. Court disagreed with me, and it was a very positive statement. And that the day after, I think I submitted my application, changed my voter registration to Westport, and looking to hope someday serve with U.S. colleagues, quite frankly. And one last item, if I could, it would be really helpful if the agenda can be posted a little more timely. I think it was posted not until Friday afternoon before this meeting. It just would help people, I think, and it's a matter of public record. I think it'd be a good way to go about that in that direction. And that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you.
I was more thinking of any comments on this case, on the appeal.
Oh. Okay.
A gentleman in the sweater had held his hand up, and that's why
I did not take the oath. Do I need to do that now?
Yes, you'll need to be sworn in.
Okay. Someone swear me in?
Wait.
Is this?
All right, so this person, I thought this was general public comment as opposed to.
That was not the intent.
This is for the Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society.
Right, we're back to the Gem and Mineral Society appeal. This gentleman had a question, and he wasn't called upon, so Mr. Kramer is asking him to.
So I'm just, in terms of just order of the whole thing, so is he, if you want him sworn in, that means he's adding testimony, which
That is correct.
I will allow it.
Okay.
Can you?
So he hasn't been sworn in.
He needs to be
right?
sworn in, correct?
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And can you state your name?
My name is Jeff Russell, and I'm the secretary for the Mendocino Coast Gem and Mineral Society.
Right. Thank you.
And I went through the minutes that were kept for this time period. And on and about June of 1986, there was an entry made that James Larson is asking for a value of the property for the tax fee. And to the best, I'm sorry I did not bring that. I didn't even think it was germane, or I was lazy. But at any rate, to the best of my memory, the $36,000 was for the land and the improvements. And that's all I have to say.
All right,
so that's in our minutes. It has not been touched. I can always provide a copy, but I did not have them with me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Any questions from the board?
No.
No. All right. Thank you, sir. And does he?
Again, the supplemental is not up for appeal.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Gotcha.
So do we want to move to item 6? We will need to go into closed session, yes. Okay. So the board, I'm sorry, Mr. Warner, your time is finished.
All I want to know is when will be notified of your decision.
And I honestly don't know when you will receive notice.
Okay. Can we leave now?
I believe you can leave, yes.
Okay.
All right, the Mendocino County Assessment Appeals Board will be going into closed session. All right, so closed session ended at 10:37.
Please.
Yes, so by a unanimous decision, the appeals board upheld the assessor's opinion.
For the record, Chair Shepherd, may I have the breakdown of the figures?
All right. I need to find it. I'm sorry, do you have those numbers handy? I may have it here. All right, thank you. So I see the 2015, 2016. But I don't see the previous years, aren't we? Wasn't there an appeal on or is it only the 2015, 2016?
No, it was 12, 13, 14, 15.
12, 13, and 14 in the attachments, but, you know, if you look at the appeal on the second page, I think he actually only appealed his attachment 8. Kit, do you have a?
What's the assessment number?
I'm just looking at the second page of the appeal he filed, and he says he checked escaped assessment May 31st, 2016, roll year 2016, see attachment 8.
So that says lien date of 2015.
Right, lien date, but it was the 2012 proposed escape. It's the unsecured number 952-0194606-012, and that tells you. Oh, I'm sorry. If you look at the second page of the appeal, he's saying he is appealing the roll year 2016, which is we're required by law to add them to the current roll. And he says see attachment number 8, which is unsecured number 952-0194606-012. And that, I don't see anything else that he appealed, but
Okay.
Are we?
So we're showing the assessment as it is shown by the assessor. Reappraised land $57,075. Improvements $38,050 for a total assessment of $95,125.
Yep.
Now, you had mentioned several other tax years, but
Right,
I don't see
he's-
them in the document.
He's attached all of the escaped assessments, but if you look at the second page, like I said, of the application,
I saw that, 2016.
that's the only thing he's listed.
Okay, all right. Then I believe those numbers, those figures that I read into the record are the correct amounts.
Could we have a motion?
Oh, could we have a motion from the board?
So moved.
And seconded.
So the motion was made by Mr. Seltzer, seconded by Mr. Kramer.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
That's yours.
So now we're on to item 6, other business.
Did we do the minutes already?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is that other business or is
Yes, that's the first item of other business. Approval of minutes of prior meeting,
I move-
January 29, 2018, as presented in the agenda packet.
I so move
Second.
that we approve.
All right, so motion by Mr. Kramer, second by Mr. Seltzer.
Motion carries.
Any public expression on non-agenda items?
You already did that.
I know.
But she didn't mean to.
Do you have to point out my failures? Any matters from staff?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Any announcements? And did you have an announcement?
No.
Okay. And confirmation of the next meeting date?
There we go.
The next Assessment Appeals Board meeting will be July 17, 2018 at 9 a.m.
All right, thank you. And I believe that
July 17 at 9
9
a.m.
o'clock. If
Yeah.
you're here at 2, it's
Yeah,
gonna be-
yeah, I'll warm the seat for you till next time. Yeah.
All right, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. So is there a